Hello, Guardians, and welcome to Destiny Reset episode 138. This podcast is about anything and everything related to the Destiny franchise. If you love playing Destiny 2 as much as we do, you're in the right place. This reset, we hear from Bungie on the future of faction rallies, we talk speculation on the Go Fast update, and we chat about how fun it is to game with your kids. Hello, Guardians, and welcome. It's AER0KNIGHT CyborgSasquatch. What's up, dude?
Hello.
I was gonna start right off with a country accent almost, since we ended with one last time, but I decided not to mid-intro.
Well, howdy, partner.
How are you, Nat?
Doing fine, man.
If our listeners didn't know, we got this down. We're in the Midwest of the United States. We could do it if we wanted to, right?
Yeah, and I'm in the South, so I get the excuse.
Yeah.
I can be as redneck as I please.
It's possible, yep. Anyway, sorry. How's it going?
Going good, man. Just wrapping up a long weekend. It's a Sunday evening here for us, and getting ready for the weekend. Getting excited for the next couple weeks of Destiny.
Yes.
Maybe some fun things.
What is
News
it,
this week. We'll talk about it.
One more full week before we get 1.1.4.
Yes.
Exciting. Very exciting.
The Go Fast.
Yeah, it's about time to go fast.
Well, it's about time to start some news. This
do
week at Bungie, we're welcoming back faction leaders. Didn't we just do this 2 weeks ago?
I know. Well, we were just talking last episode. I was thinking we were going to have another event, and I said faction rallies, and I'm like, wait a second, we just had that. We're not going to get that for a minute. Here we go.
Feels like it. Time just flies.
Yes.
Factions are coming back 10 a.m. Pacific on Tuesday, March 20. Got some new weapons up for grabs. We've got a shotgun from New Monarchy and Future War Cult, and a SMG from Dead Orbit, a Viced one at that.
Mm-hmm.
Usual things. Those are the, I think, the new weapons being added to the reward pool. And then for the winner of the faction, we've got a sniper rifle from Future War Cult. We've got a New Monarchy grenade launcher and a Dead Orbit sniper rifle.
Yeah, they almost were trying to do something there with New Monarchy. I heard that this week too, but by throwing two snipers up for the other ones, there's no telling who's gonna
get that grenade launcher.
Yep. You know, I was thinking this week, that first image in the TWAB of the three weapons that are getting added to the drop pool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Dead Orbit, but I gotta say, like, these weapons that are coming up, the design, they're not my favorite. Like, I'm loving the way the Future War Cult stuff is looking, because my preference usually is like sleek, minimalistic looking stuff, and I feel like Dead Orbit is not doing that right now. I feel like it's more your style, dude, like Hive looking stuff. Like, it's just
always say that.
I know.
I just like goth guns.
Yeah, goth. Cyborg's goth preference.
I just like weird fantasy, like hard edges and crazy stuff. So yeah, factions are coming back this reset, and they mentioned this is the last chance to earn your ornaments for season 2. You can grab anything you need before Victory Week ends on April 3rd. If you're missing any emblems, you'll need to pledge to the faction you're missing before March 27th. After that, faction rallies will take some time off while they work to make the event even better.
Interesting.
How timely.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about this. You've been talking about faction rallies quite a bit in Twitter because you're working on your next community checkpoint content, and you had decided, let's talk about how we could make faction rallies better. And then here we go.
Like, what in the world? I sent out a tweet and I was like, what do you guys want to talk about this time? And
2 days later,
here it goes.
Yeah, but this is good. I mean, I'm really looking forward to them improving faction rallies, and I like the philosophy they're putting forth here. They say, we've been reviewing player feedback on faction rallies and are planning to make some fundamental changes to the event. Here's a few of the overall goals we're trying to achieve. Pledging to a faction should be a meaningful choice.
Yes,
okay.
Please.
All right. Rewards should not be time gated. Okay. Faction rallies should provide a unique gameplay experience and not simply be a reward layer on top of the existing game. Boom.
Yes, please.
You sold me. They go on. The event should grant additional insight into faction lore and goals.
Yes,
Come
please.
on, guys. You're looking in my brain. It should build upon player interest in lost sectors and armor, ornament, objectives. I don't know what that means, but icing on the cake. Yeah. So they mention as they get further along in development, they'll share more with us on how this event will evolve in the future. I love what their goals are here. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but if they can bring back faction rallies and hit those bullet points, we'll actually have something fun.
Yeah, dude. And I've gotten so many tweets on this topic, and the several of them have been that very first bullet point. Pledging to a faction should be a meaningful choice. I
feel like that's been something since launch of Destiny 1 that people felt like it should have some impact in either, how the game world is revealed to you, or even plot points, or I don't know. It should have some impact, just like it would in real life.
Right.
You decide to roll with Dead Orbit, like, all right, get ready for some depressing, but you got a lot of ships in the sky. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, didn't they, and in Destiny 1, at one point, they made it pretty costly to switch or pledge, didn't they? That was like part of their attempt.
You could only do it once a week, and then I can't remember what else was tied to it, but yeah, I mean, it was, you had to make a choice.
Right.
You couldn't just bounce around between them, at least not on a weekly basis. I think it would be smart where you had to pledge one like for a whole season for each, like per character.
Yeah, I like that. Because I was thinking
some impact.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were, tweeting and talking about the meaningful choice, and I'm thinking to myself like, well, dang, this is the classic. They have to please, many types of players, and if you make them lock it in too long, it just, that doesn't seem too reasonable. So I think you're right. A season could be a good middle ground. Like you're deciding for the next several months who your allegiance is to.
Yeah,
I like that. Mm-hmm.
And if everything isn't time gated, if you have a better idea of what that decision entails, at least to an extent, then it could make it, more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as let's say they build in some adventures or quests or things of that nature, as long as if you pledge New Monarchy for a season and the next season you want to do Future War Cult, it would be nice to at least be able to go hit that backlog of content and not have it sunset,
Right. Mm-hmm.
But maybe have some exclusive stuff if you are pledged to a faction for a season, like some, like the ornaments that you might earn or whatever, guns, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the not simply adding a reward layer on top of the existing game too. And another thing, and this came up too, and I'm sure we'll cover it in the community checkpoint video, but things like what happened to vendor numbered levels, like even if they added just a numbered level and every so many you got an extra engram, or just little things like that are, just kind of seem like they're missing, that still add something to it, and then
they've brought them back in a way in that certain things now require that you open a certain amount of packages. Yeah,
a certain amount of them, but you don't even know.
It's literally the same thing. It's just like you have to be level 10. I don't understand why they don't just
throw the number up there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it always
return.
felt good in Destiny 1. You know, it's, in a way it's meaningless, but it's not. It does have value. You know, I could see, you know, I pledged on all 3 characters like many do. Of course, I'm sure I had 1 faction per character in Destiny 1, and you could see which character I played on the most because my Dead Orbit Titan was like, I don't even remember, you know, at some point 100 or something on, I don't even remember, you know, and you as well. I remember because you were trying to get that ship forever. And it, you know, you could add value to it. Every 10 levels give us a bonus faction engram, you know, like something simple.
And they're building a lot of reward layers that they could add to these, like emblem variants, you know, I don't know.
You know, the
in
ornaments
Destiny
are cool.
1 with the Taken King, they had the exotic class pieces that
class
you could
item.
get at level 25.
25, yep.
Everybody loved that, but they never did anything with it again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's just, you know, it's just the little things like that, that, you know, hopefully we'll get over time here and more of it. I heard a cool idea this week of, why are they only here for a week? You know, leave them there for, you know, all the time, and then just make 1 week, whatever their engagement would be, you know, what you could do while they're in the tower. But when it's actually the event week, if there was more substantial things to do during the event week, other than just a reward layer on top of the existing game, they could probably be in the tower all the time. You know what I mean? And then it throws, you know, some other things while the event is going on.
Right.
I don't know, man. There's a lot that can be done with these faction rallies. Some really cool things. And, I think, you know, Guardians are on board. So hopefully, did they hint at this at all that they were gonna?
It just made me think about like a bus or like a minivan.
There you go.
Instead of like, you know, you'll see like the kids on board sticker. I don't know why I thought about that.
Oh, that would be good, man.
Guardians on board.
Pick out your Destiny players, Guardians on board.
Yeah. Sorry.
I like that.
You were saying.
No, did they hint at this at all that they were going to do this? I couldn't remember when they did this because it was kind of a surprise to me that they're throwing the faction rallies back in the vault, if you will.
No, they really never. I mean, I don't think they've said anything before that.
Yeah.
Before now. That they were doing that, but I'm down with it. I mean, my hope would be if, I don't know,
Season 4
it's hard to know how long this is going to take them to do, but if we could see them at least just come back, like maybe the month after season 3 starts, that seems like it would be a great time. But I mean, they put out the new development roadmap this week, and they still have on part of season 3, seasonal, faction rally improvements. So, you know, they've got a month and some change, to have that be a part of it. And it doesn't even have to release, you know, it can just come out when the first faction rally starts.
Right.
So, you know, they could be back sooner than later.
Good stuff.
We will see.
Yeah. You know, they mentioned lost sectors too. That was an interesting bullet point because they say
I don't get why the lost sectors are so important to this event.
Well,
it felt like it's always felt like a tack on to me.
Well, it's the classic. I mean, they're doing in Destiny 2 what we always wanted in Destiny 1. You know, how many times do we say in Destiny 1, give us a reason to go out on patrol, give us a reason to do this, and
That's true.
We have anytime stuff like this happens. I mean, the faction rallies, and I mean, I'm still going out and doing public events because it's a milestone. So they succeeded in that. But, you know, of course, there's other areas that don't motivate you to go do the patrols, or the public events. You know, if loot isn't driving you, you know, that could be a factor, whatever it is for you. But like the lost sectors here, I love that during a faction rally, you have a reason to go out into the PvE world. But, you know, they're saying your interest in lost sectors. I guess that's because people have a tendency to farm lost sectors, but is it really their interest in it, or is it just because it's been the most efficient way to get
it's just been efficient
tokens? You know? Yeah. So it's not really your interest in lost sectors because during a faction rally.
You don't get that much out of lost sectors.
Yeah, especially not now. And so the thing is, really, I want you to focus on Lost Sectors just in general. Give us a reason to do adventures and Lost Sectors even without the faction rally going on. You know what I mean?
There's definitely ways that they can make Lost Sectors interesting.
Mm-hmm.
They could add specific loot that exists only in the Lost Sectors on specific destinations. Like, all right, EDZ has got a loot pool, and you can only get it from, X, Y, and Z in that place. And one of the ways is by pulling the Lost Sector chests, and you get a better drop, or emblems, or shaders, or whatever. Like, there's ways that you can make them more interesting. And then also, I feel like in a game like this, there needs to be more of the RPG influence. Mm-hmm. We've got the milestones, and there's that bit of grind with a point. Things are tied to rewards, and I feel like if they just for everything you do in Destiny 2, there's a reward attached to it. Whether it's a patrol, completing a lost sector, or you doing a high level activity, whatever. But if they were able to basically just create some progress bars on everything, like, you would see more of this stuff get utilized.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
Like, just have they've got the we call them public events for the milestone, but it's technically a flashpoint in which you can raise that bar by doing anything in the planet. Patrol, killing majors, looting loot sectors, all that stuff. If they created another one that was a little more broad, like, a lost sectors milestone or a patrol milestone, I don't know. There's so much granularity that they can add that would make the content more impactful, like, long term. Because same thing with adventures. Like, they added something that you can do on Mercury for the heroic adventures. If they were able just to expand that stuff and give it more purpose and more reward, it would have more longevity to all. I mean, they spend a lot of time making all that content, and it's a once, wham bam, thank you ma'am. Like, you do it once, you never look back.
It's the classic, there's plenty to do in Destiny, we just need more reasons to do it. As far as loot drive, or reward drive. And, you remember you talking about it made me think way back when we first heard about Lost Sectors and stuff. We were so pumped because it sounded like dungeon instances in our favorite game, and in a sense they're really short versions of a dungeon. But like you said, if they can add layers to them or reasons to go do them, more of a reason to go do them, they still could accomplish that. But man, you're onto something with the milestones. I was just thinking, it may have been this week, I love when I log in on reset, I'll check to see if I've got anything flashing at the tower, see if we were talking last week, see if the clan's done anything yet, if Hawthorne's flashing for me. And, there's many titles, many games that kind of have that weekly reset structure. But Destiny just still scratches that itch for me. On a weekly basis, I can put tons of time into the game. Some weeks I may not have a ton of time to play, and being on a weekly reset, it just resets, your drive in the game. It's okay. It's time to go do some more stuff. And if they can add these layers, like you're saying, to these different things, and hopefully we'll see that with coming patches and DLC, there's plenty of stuff there, man. Like there's plenty to do. There's plenty of content. I don't know. And, I'm still farming. I'm on that crazy grind of those verses. I got the one this week, dude. That's another verse. And I guess it's the shotgun. I had to look it up, and it's like 3 different sets of 2 things I have to grind for.
Yeah.
And luckily I already had many of them. I'm sure many Guardians, many of you guys have already done this, but I was like, holy cows. But when I go out and do that, you know, I'm usually doing something else, and then a public event will start. So I'll run over there and do it. So I get one of those materials, and it just makes me realize even more like, okay, there's all kinds of stuff going on out here. And you know, there's a lot of people I run into. I run up to a public event, dude, and it ends up still full, with, you know, 4, 5, 6 Guardians. So, you know, I don't know, I'm going on and on. What I'm trying to say is there's plenty to do. We just, like you said, whether it's a milestone, whether it's loot. I sent out a tweet this week, dude. I couldn't help but do it. I had already mentioned we continue to level in this game, and you remember in Destiny 1, we got 5 motes for it. And that was something they added after the fact, right? That continuing progress bar. Or did they just add the 5 mote reward in Destiny 1?
There was always
continuing
I think
progress
you
bar?
always got motes.
Okay.
Even at
motes.
the beginning.
Yeah. And we used to say way back, like, just give us a legendary engram or something, you know, something other than just 5 motes. And okay, so they did that in Destiny 2. We get the illuminated engram where we can go to Eververse. We don't have to spend money. We get something from her. But dude, if they just added, and I photoshopped and tweeted out an image I took coming up on a public event with like 3 other Guardians standing there. And I like photoshopped their level. And on one Guardian, I put 777. On one, I put 83. And on one, I put 56. And I'm like, look how powerful that number is. Even if we don't get any extra reward, when I'm walking up on a public event and I see somebody has 86 above their name, and it's essentially the equivalent of a Diablo 3 Paragon level, that has a lot of value. And it doesn't just show who spent more time playing the game. It just shows, it makes you proud of other people can see maybe the knowledge you have in the game. Again, how much time you put into the game, your experience in the game. If you're sitting on a public event, there's no question you probably know how to activate the heroic version. And maybe you see a level 27, you know, or even somebody that's not even they're level 19. I don't know. Things like that to me just add ownership. They add value. And, you know, from a design standpoint, I could see maybe where Bungie, after looking at my image, I'm like, well, you know, maybe they don't want people running up on somebody that's got 150 above their name and confusing people in the leveling system. But then my counter to that is like, well, you have level, your base level, and then you have power level. So it's like, what would it really matter to throw just a simplistic version of like a Paragon leveling system in the game so that we're always grinding a number in the game? And then when DLC comes out and you raise it to the base level to 30, just like Diablo, you jump back, level from 25 to 30. And then once you hit 30, your Paragon level jumps above your character's name again. I don't know. You know, I'm going way off on a tangent here, but to me, you know, this is another simple thing. You don't even have to reward us, and it adds value for us with our Guardian, for the time we're spending in the game, you know? So anyways, crazy tangent. Went from adding, layers to lost sectors to Paragon leveling system. But anyways, you get my point.
That's why we're here though.
Yeah. And your point, dude, just, okay, run 3 adventures for a milestone engram. Powerful engram.
I think that just you know, the last few episodes we've been really starting to kind of dig deep again into like what we would like to see from the game. And I think that it's because, one, we're starting to see some things come to the game that we wanted from the get-go. And so that's great and encouraging, but there's still a lot more that we would like to see in an ideal world, you know?
Right.
And so now we're kind of starting to dig deep into like, you know, how can this game be really good? How can this game be great and not just good? And I personally feel like I would get a lot more traction out of this game if it had a lot more RPG elements. And it doesn't have to be, you know, I was always okay with the RPG light that we got out of Destiny 1, but I always felt like they could have added a lot more depth. I just want to log in and see so many ways that I can progress that I'm always chasing something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more than just trying to rack up legendary engrams or, get more duplicates of 335 gear.
Right.
I feel like the biggest problem in a game like this that a loot-based game has, or this loot-based game has, is not enough loot. There's not enough unique stuff. And it seems like that's Bungie's biggest challenge. And I can't figure out why. I don't know if it's because there's not enough artists, there's not enough weapon and armor designers. I wish I could put my thumb on it, but if they could just overwhelm us with stuff, people would play and play and play. And if you just look at where we were by the time you got to Rise of Iron, there was just so much stuff that you could try to get out of that game that people that came 1, 2, 3 years later just had an absolute blast because they could always go, okay, like I mastered the most recent expansion. I want to go do Vault of Glass and I want to collect all the Vault of Glass stuff now. Or I want to go do like Prison of Elders. Like nobody touches that, but there's all these cool guns. And part of that is there was lots of content pushed out over time, but they need more than just what comes with that. Like you can't put out just carbon copies of stuff over and over. We can't just keep seeing reskins of armor for 6 months of the game, and reskins of guns. They have got to figure out that problem. And if they can, they're going to earn their player base respect again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you think about it, there are tons of weapons and armor in the game, but 60 to 70% of it is throwaway lower level gear.
There's a lot of trash.
Yeah.
And I
or
would
just higher level.
Venture that half of the stuff is reskins.
Right. Yeah.
All the legendaries are also blue tier, whatever the heck. I don't even know. Common, uncommon. Yeah. I don't remember anymore. All rare of it is the same as rare stuff.
Right.
It's just reskinned. Most of the ornaments are reskins. Most of the new guns that we're getting are reskins. Like, why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, and it's like ships and ghosts are pretty varied now. That's something we asked for quite a bit in Destiny 1.
There's there's like a handful of ship types, and I'm not going to get too hung up on that, but
yeah.
They need to step it up.
And that's why so many people will jump right to the random roll thing. And I know you're not fully set that we need random rolls back, but I've ventured into that conversation quite a bit, and I do think that. I mean, that obviously adds definitely grind to the game and motivation to progress and hunt things. But there's many ways to add a sense of random rolling back to the game, or random rolls on weapons. And I think what I hope is that Masterworks will end up doing that, because I really don't think they're going to give us back something as substantial as of random rolls that we got in Destiny 1, but I think Masterworks, I feel like those are going to end up being a hybrid, and have something on them that's substantial enough for you to want to roll.
Yeah, I think the playability issue with weapons and armor is that they have a foundation there with Masterworks and with some improvement to mods.
Right.
So
and mods,
if they can build
mods.
on that, and they can continue to add new perks as we get new content, which is something that we saw throughout Destiny 1, then I think that they can produce quality gear that people will be interested in. But you can't just reskin all the crap and expect us not to see through
static rolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're spot on with the mods too. It's easy to gloss over those because, it's still a little bit
we got
before
something
we're gonna
coming
get those,
with that. We just don't know when.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And it's, you're right. If that's something that would be exciting each patch or each expansion, if they add a few more, 10 to 20 more mods. I mean, you're basically taking every gun in the game and adding how many layers of customization that the players can just goof around with and see what may become their new favorite weapon combined with these however many mods, Yeah, spot on with the mods for sure. So,
all right.
Again,
well,
time
back to the TWAB.
Yes.
They mention we've got the Nightfall top scores from the Pyramidian.
Holy cow!
402,479 was the top. They do mention that there are players taking advantage of a cheese and juicing their scores in lost sectors. I don't know what that is, but they're working on a fix for 1.2.0. But I think they're just ignoring it until then.
Yeah, they're pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been several conversations and they're just like, there's not, why even try? We just need to work on it until we have a fix.
I guess it is what it is.
Yeah. It does stink. I mean, it's cool to have these scores back in the TWAB, and I hope they can get it figured out, at least by 1.2 so that they're meaningful. Numbers. So
in Destiny player support, they mentioned the update to the companion app. Players are reporting difficulties in applying shaders, spawn effects, modifications, perks from Masterworks to gear. They found through investigation players who disable notifications on the companion app are unable to confirm the application of their desired changes. If you're encountering this issue, enable notifications to resolve it. Good to know. And then also with Nightfall emblem variants, they talk about how you can unlock different variants of these emblems when players reach specific Nightfall strike par scores. There's some confusion there apparently. They say there's a chance for emblem variants to be awarded to players upon Nightfall activity completion when they meet par score requirements, but it may take multiple Nightfall completions to earn. So it sounds like, if I'm reading this correctly, you're not guaranteed that variation when you hit the score required. You just have a chance.
Yeah.
That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Not totally clear, but they're making that clear. Hey, and then for you drummers out there, over at Movie of the Week, a pretty cool Destiny 2 drum remix.
Mm-hmm. I dabble in the drums.
You do like to drum.
This is cool.
Tat.
This is 2 weeks in a row, right? Was it last week we had the
last week we had piano. Yeah, this week we had drum remix. The musicians holding it down.
Very cool.
Absolutely. Another thing, I think we talked about this last week, but there was some talk about hand cannons on console. We're getting increasing hipfire accuracy and ADS accuracy. And also they're going to take another look at in-air accuracy and do some testing after update 1.1.4 goes live. And we will see next week more info on the update.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, which I almost forgot to put this in the show notes, but over on the Bungie.net forums and Twitter, DimG noticed, and I'd seen some of these threads as well, people are asking, hey, don't show us the Nightfall rewards. And so he put out a tweet and a thread on the Bungie.net forum saying, do you want us to show off some of the rewards? Great question to ask. I think a lot of people are saying no. Some people are saying, just show off, give us one example so we know what we're talking about. What do you think, Garrow?
I could probably agree with that. Like, give us an example. But if I had to choose one, yes or no, I would probably say I'm with the no crowd. Let it be a surprise.
I would just say, give us I would take a text description Be like,
Yeah.
they can be
That'll
armor
build
or
hype.
weapons.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it could be emblems, shaders, and class items. Like, I would be totally fine with that. And then just the fun of going out and finding for yourself and seeing people throw them up on Twitter and Reddit and stuff when they start finding things. Like, that makes Destiny fun, you know, when there's stuff to discover and you don't just see everything in a preview.
Yeah, even if it didn't describe what weapon type it was, even if it did, it'd probably still be intriguing. But if it was just the flavor text of the weapon, that would build some hype.
That's clever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm in the camp of like, just totally just save it for the, save it for the game, man.
Now, are we assuming this is probably, I mean, this is going to be Nightfall. All right. Let me pull up the development roadmap because we're going to talk about it here in a second anyways.
Yeah, that's next
They
up.
update it. So it is Nightfall Strike unique rewards. So that is to say, when any particular strike is the Nightfall,
Yes.
you'll get a unique reward. Now,
Or there's unique
It
rewards
doesn't-
available. It doesn't say the delivery system or...
and it doesn't say that each strike will have its own unique reward. It's just saying
Nightfall
a
strikes.
Nightfall strike.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there's
see,
a lot
like-
to assume because we're basing this all on, like, strike rewards for Destiny 1.
Yeah, like I instantly, of course, think, like many, I'm sure, oh, sweet. So each strike's going to have unique reward pool, 1 or 2 weapons.
Yeah.
But really, it's not saying that at all.
It could totally just be, there's a pool for Nightfall rewards, and you can
Yes.
get them from Zavala, and it's just a pool that you can pull out of, you know?
That
You could do it
worries
that
me.
way.
Not what you just said doesn't worry me, but it worries me now that we're breaking these 4 words down because it really needs to feel substantial and it really needs to feel like a great additional layer, new rewards. The rewards need to be potent because if it doesn't feel like that, I worry what the feedback will be.
What I loved
you
about
know?
strike rewards in Destiny 1 when those were introduced was that they directly tied into this individual strike.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had a theme
Dawn.
that fit the boss or the enemy, and it even
flares,
had,
dude.
you know, yeah, you had the flare cloaks. You had, like, there was this cool Siva bond from Rise of Iron that you only got from the Sepix remastered, Sepix Redux or something. That was, it took me forever to get, but,
Devil's Dawn.
yeah, Devil's
It's like
Dawn.
as soon as somebody got that, it was like, okay, I gotta go run that strike, and I gotta have a key
Right.
to open the chest because I really need that sniper.
Yeah. Those were pretty
That's
cool.
cool.
I'd like to see something like that, but you know, it may not necessarily be that. So we definitely need to not have any specific expectations here until they tell us.
Yeah,
that
I'm glad we're
doing it.
having this conversation because my brain, even if I'm,
You just assume a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of that's the baggage of being a player for this long is they start using verbiage and stuff, and you just have expectations, just like when we misunderstood what the Mercury stuff was going to be, the
Infinite
patrol,
Forest.
the Infinite Forest. I mean, you just kind of leap to conclusions based on what you've seen before, and you have to kind of be careful about that.
Well, you know, even if this is, like you said, let's say 10 to 20 Nightfall unique rewards, that in and of itself will be pretty cool, be pretty substantial. Every week the Nightfall's up, you can go try and get one of those unique rewards.
For me, they're doing some cool stuff with Nightfall, and so this, in any iteration, I think, is going to be another great layer. That
It's
even if it's
reason to
not
play.
exactly what I want, like if it's some new stuff that's specific to that activity, I think that's a win right there. And if they can make it even better, great. If it's just that simple, like you just get a thing when you complete it, like, all right, cool. You know, it's something we didn't have before.
Right.
I want to talk a little bit about Nightfall when we get to reset, but got some more feedback on that. But yeah, let's talk about this development roadmap real quick. We're pulling off of that.
It is updated.
Yeah, just barely though. I mean, I'd have to go pull up the last one, but there's not a lot changed here.
No. One thing moving back.
Yeah, heroic strike modifiers have moved to Season 3 1.2.0. I think we knew that. They talked about that like last week or in the past 2 weeks. But to review what we're getting with 1.1.4, we get the sandbox update. We get Iron Banner 6v6, weekly Crucible playlists, which I talk about here some more. Crucible ammo and gameplay tuning, Crucible quitter penalties, repeat Crucible map / strike protection. That's awesome. Exotic repetition reduction, important Nightfall Strike unique rewards, and companion vendor viewing. I think is that for the companion app?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah. So, they talk about the weekly Crucible playlist starting March 27th will become available to all. Contains Rumble, Mayhem, and 6v6 Iron Banner to start. Here's a calendar for when you can expect these game modes through the week of May 1st. So we got March 27th Rumble, April 3rd Mayhem, April 10th Iron Banner, April 17th Rumble, April 24th Mayhem, May 1st Iron Banner. So it looks like we're getting 2 more Iron Banners, I'm guessing, before Season 3, because we know Season 3 doesn't start till May.
Which is good.
Cool.
Give me time.
Yeah, I got more to get from Iron Banner, so.
Yeah. Yep.
But that 6v6, I think, is going to be a good boost. A big deal. A good injection to Iron Banner. I'll be excited about that.
I know a lot of Guardians are already saying, why not throw up Rumble all the time, which I really do hope they end up doing that. I do feel like this is probably the stepping stone to that. But they're always about not spreading the population too thin. Oh, and, man, they're looking at the hard numbers on the back end.
It is low right now.
Yeah. So if it's low now, they don't want to stretch it out.
I think it's a smart way to roll it out. And it also gives them, if you can get more people in that mode, then they can analyze it better to see, okay, there's, 8v all Rumble. We haven't done this yet. Like they would love to see some data. Like, what does it look like? What kind of weapons are people using? How are the classes playing? What are the score, gaps like? How are the matches ending? So they can tweak that.
Plus
and if they just
sandbox changes.
Yeah, if they just throw it out by itself, then you have a chance for a lower player population spread across a longer period, and it's going to be harder for them to get data, especially when there's a lot less people playing the game right now. Mm-hmm. I think we could possibly see these modes come back by themselves, like in May or in the fall, when the player base rises again. So if you want it to come back by itself, get in there and play it when it's up. Mm-hmm. Give them the data, get out there and play it, give them some feedback so they can make it better. So that's my 2 cents on that. I know,
I agree.
MTash was pretty upset. The Rumble King, self-adorned.
Rumble King, baby.
Rumble King. But I'm looking forward to seeing a MTash Destiny stream when Rumble comes back that week.
Dude, Rumble is just, it took me a while to play Rumble. I never was a big free-for-all guy in Call of Duty or anything. And then I realized, Rumble, I spent a lot of time in Rumble. It is the place to improve the quickest.
Yeah, I didn't play nearly as much as I should have, but when I did go play, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's the place to improve for sure. Or to work on things that you want to work on.
I hope, what they haven't talked about? I hope that you can queue up a full team.
Oh, yeah.
Into Rumble. Mm-hmm. You know how they kind of limited that? I think you could only I think in Destiny 1, you could only go in with a max of 3 into a public matchmaking Rumble match.
Yeah.
After like the Taken King or something. It would be great if you could go in with at least like 4 or,
well, you know,
and
if
man, it's hard to,
I'm trying to remember
They
how
might
Rumble
make it
was.
totally
I would
solo
want it
queue.
both ways. I would want it both ways, because if I'm going to play Rumble, I kind of would want to know. And did they do that with Inferno? What was that? Where you couldn't queue up unless you were a solo player.
you know, what would make the most sense is either all or nothing. If it's going to be 8, you can either go in as 1 or 8.
Yeah.
And if you go in as 8, you know, like that, because Rumble's like a really fun way to like just goof off with your friends and kill each other and talk trash. And like we would do that all the time after finishing up a night of Crucible or finishing up a raid. They're like, all right, let's go, you know, do like a private and do some Rumble for like 20 minutes.
It could make that wait to May for private matches.
Yeah, which I know, you know, we're waiting on that,
better.
but it would be awesome if we could just queue up 8 in Rumble and then just go in and goof off, you know.
I'm glad that private matches aren't a starred asterisk thing,
right?
Because pushing those back, you know, we always felt like people asked for them, and then maybe didn't utilize them as much as they seemed to think they would. But it still just feels like a core thing in the game that needs to be there, especially for like the competitive community, obviously, and setting up different things outside of the game, different events, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really have events without privates. You can't have any kind of tournaments or, I mean, anything, not realistically.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I wanted to say too, the major bug pushing back heroic strike modifiers. It does stink because it was a cool layer of PvE content that was coming to the game, something we used to have, something we all liked in strikes. Now I will say, you know, if it's broken and it's also going to give them time to make it even better, then we're in the classic delay the game scenario. Like, I know we used to have strike modifiers and many feel like we should have them already now, but we definitely don't want them to release broken. So I'm sure many were disappointed with this, but we can wait just a little bit longer, maybe get something even better.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Something else in the news that we missed last week, because I think it kind of popped up like a few hours before we recorded last week, but there was a quote unquote leak on expansion 2. And I didn't totally buy this thing, because here's the thing. You see this for almost every expansion and release for Destiny. You see all these leaks. I think maybe 10% of the time they've ever been accurate. And so my coverage on this, or our coverage, I think should be related to a great article Paul Tassi put up titled "Stop Believing These Garbage Destiny 2 Spring DLC Leaks." And so this leak, to sum it up, said, okay, Rasputin disappears, Anna Bray shows up, a corrupted Warmind is the villain, we learn the truth behind the collapse, generic blah blah, and it was called something like The Fallen Warmind is what it's supposed to be called, which sounds dumb. That didn't even sound like a real
I know
name.
people were immediately like, Gods of Mars sounded cooler.
But he mentioned it was just a post of screenshots from the GameStop webpage from a few hours old Reddit account that didn't even put a link that led him there. And he mentions, and people forget this all the time, you can go into the code viewer in any browser and you can change the display code to make most websites appear to generate whatever the hell you want, especially text. So it's pretty hard to call this a legit leak. I think that obviously, I mean, we're probably less than a month away from getting actual information on this. And I think that Paul's right that this is probably nonsense for karma.
Plus, if it's not Jason Schreier, then it's probably not legit.
Right.
Just kidding. Well, I think another thing I saw this week too is that I saw on one of my favorite YouTubers that the page had 6. It had the little Facebook icon, and it said it had 6 likes. And it's like, wait a second, hold on, this seems odd.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, so it sounds very sketchy and possibly, edited to make seem so. But like you said, I don't think we're too far away from some legit news about the upcoming expansion.
Yeah, the marketing spin up has got to happen in the next few weeks. My guess would be the week after the next patch. Within a week of that, we're going to start to see some stuff trickle. That's how they do it. So. There was a really funny post I thought was worth bringing up on Reddit that was posted about a week ago from this, titled "This Week at Not Bungie. Another AI learning autocomplete generated TWAB article." Essentially, this user, Chris D Animation, which is I've been following on Twitter for a while. Actually, he does he just basically an animator. He used to work at Rooster Teeth, and he does some cool Destiny animations and stuff that you can go and see. But he basically took the Botnik predictive writer that can generate sentences based on what you feed it. So he fed in a bunch of TWABs and had it generate a TWAB. First of all, that's hilarious. Second of all, there are some real jewels in this thing. Okay. DIMG-04 pulses have been escalated to take advantage of feedback since launch. Impact scouts increased base damage for high-end thresholds when you activate your hands. Cosmo items from Lord Shaxx are now 2 guardians in Destiny. You just got to go through and read this. If you've been reading TWABs for a long time, it's not only does the format and the verbiage sound totally legit, but there's some really funny bullet points and stuff in here. The Destiny related entertainment, also known the movie of the week, sound like totally legit video titles. Movie of the Burst experience title, Hello Friends, honorable mention, Telestoed by the Leviathan. This is all generated stuff and it makes total sense. But there's also some really funny replies from some of the Bungie team replying to some of the stuff that was talked about. Just go track down the post. It's really funny.
That's great.
It was a jewel. So
good stuff.
Always fun stuff on Reddit. It's nice to see funny, interesting stuff, because we saw a lot of that in Destiny 1. Just a lot of imaginative posts and creative content, and it's nice to see some of that stuff coming back, just having some fun for once.
Let's have a good time.
A good time. Doesn't have to all be melancholy and hatred.
Some would say salt.
Right. But that's most of the news this week, man. You got any other news?
That's pretty much it, man. This next week, I hope, well, we don't want it to go fast, but I'm looking forward to the 27th. I cannot wait.
No doubt.
It seems like a long time since we've had that buzz for us to be at work and those Destiny streamers logging in to test the update, to figure out the new meta.
I'm looking forward to that.
It's gonna be fun.
I'm sure all of our creator buddies are just chomping at the bit to try out the new sandbox. Well, we're talking about news, and our sponsor has some big news in the past week or two. Yes. They put out a new product that we actually got to try. Of course, we're talking about our sponsor, Blue Microphones, and they provide all of our audio equipment. They provide us really awesome mics, headphones, and now they've put out a new product. It's called the Compass, and it is a very high quality microphone stand. We were lucky enough to each get one of a limited number that went out to some of the folks at Blue sponsors. We finally got them in this week. I had enough time to hook mine up. I know you haven't yet, Arrow, but
yeah, I've tweaked with it.
We're playing. You were playing with it, and I have to say, so last year, threw down like $100 on a really nice Rode arm that I love, but I think this one is going to take the cake. The Compass is really sleek looking, but it's also probably the sturdiest mic arm I've ever seen.
Which is huge.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
Very big deal.
Trying to have a stand that you can move up and down and you can put it just the right angle and the pivot points can handle the weight of the microphone. All that stuff plays into it. And this thing is awesome.
Yeah, it's excellent, dude.
Yeah, so
because I have one and I definitely did not drop $100 on one, and it gets the job done. But it can wobble a little bit, and which isn't a good thing while you're recording a podcast. Right. And this thing, I'm toying with getting the positioning right with it, but it's got some smart engineering behind it. I know that sounds funny for just something as simple as a microphone arm, but when you use it a lot and you depend on it for what you're doing, it makes a big difference. So I will say if you're in the market or you're looking for an upgrade, I would recommend you go check this out. And also I'm on, we've had these for a little while, but this week I'm on my new Spark SL, and I had some time to finally play with it and get my settings right. I think I sound good. Let me know, guys. I might have to play with it a little more. But it looks and sounds great. So, they put out a host of different mics. For a long time, we used the Yeti, which is the internet's most popular microphone. That's what you're using now, Arrow, right? Yes, that is what I'm using now.
And then we also both have Lola headphones, which sound beautiful and are worth every penny as well. So Blue offers everything. Now they offer everything you need to immerse yourself in the best possible gameplay content creation experience. You can check out their products at bluemic.com, and for our listeners only, tell them what they can do.
You can purchase Blue gear with the code Destiny Reset and get yourself a 20% discount.
That's a pretty good discount. That's no 5 or 10% here, folks. We're talking big bucks. 20%. Just use product code Destiny Reset at the official Blue Mic store. So that, hey man, I mean, that makes a microphone arm from $100 to $80. I mean, that's pretty good savings.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah. We were messaging this week when we found out we were getting those, and we were like, Blue's so great because, I mean, we've said many times on the show, we like to take on, if we're sponsored, it's something we're using and it's something we feel comfortable promoting to you guys. And when we found out we were getting that mic arm, the Compass, we're like, this is going to be great quality, just like everything else we have. And we were, honestly, I think I was just as excited to get that mic arm as I was my Yeti, I mean, that was pretty exciting to get our Yeti, or our Spark.
But you were due for an upgrade though too.
Yeah, I was pumped.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Well,
it's, good stuff,
it's always nice
good
to get
products.
some free swag from a company, and Blue Mic is a great company to work with. So thank you, Blue Microphones, for sponsoring Destiny Reset podcast. And if you're listening, keep your eyes and ears open for a giveaway. Probably in the next week and a half, we'll be giving some Blue swag away. So if you're looking for maybe a microphone, maybe some headphones, keep an eye on Twitter and the show, and we'll tell you how you can get something for free.
Yeah, and definitely keep an eye on our Twitter account at Destiny Reset or Cyborgs or mine. We'll shoot those out later, but we're probably gonna throw up some posts with these compasses, these arms,
we will.
And some of our other gear.
You can see them for yourself.
And tweet at us if you guys are rocking some Blue gear, especially we know some of you have some Blue gear because we've sent quite a few of you Guardians some loot
Yes, we have.
from Blue. So don't hesitate to tweet at us and tweet at Blue your setups. They'd love to see it.
Yep. Man, how was your reset this week?
Well, my reset, they're becoming pretty predictable as of the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Do public events. Maybe run the Nightfall 3 weeks ago. And then you're going to play some Fortnite. And then what else?
You just tell them my reset, man. That's pretty much it, dude. Jump on Tuesday or Wednesday. Do some milestones. I'll jump out and do public events all day long. Like, there's nothing, the only thing I'm chasing right now is 335. And I mentioned the last couple weeks that I'm forever 334. And the reason I'm forever 334, I thought about this actually today. I actually did hit 335 because I had a mark, with a legendary solar mod in it for my solar build.
Oh, nice.
So I dropped it in just so I could see 335. But the reason I'm saying I'm forever 334 is because on my main PvE Void Bubble Bro Titan, I cannot get a Void legendary mod for my Titan mark. I don't know what is going on.
Make sure you're logging in and you're like checking every couple days or so, or every day, because that stuff rotates out in the gunsmith now.
At the gunsmith?
Yeah.
See, and I actually was thinking that was still on a weekly reset, but I do go there and I check him at least once a reset, so I need to do it more often. I did finally get a Titan, legendary Titan, mod to drop for me, but it wasn't Void. So anyways, that's why I'm forever 334. I'm not putting a mod into that Void Titan mark build until I get the one I want. So that build of my Titan is going to be forever 334 until I get it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, that is the reason. But, public events, run some strikes. Did do a lot of Crucible this week. I kind of wore that out a little bit when Iron Banner was up because I wanted that auto rifle like I mentioned last week. And speaking of that, I think I'm at like 80% of my seasonal Iron Banner completion. So I should, two more Iron Banners is going to be plenty to finish that. That's the gist of it, man. I did log in and, you can tell it's a little bit slower of a week because even, I'm in Destiny Reset Blue, which is one of many Destiny Reset Dirt Fam clans. We still regularly at least have 2 engrams pop up through Hawthorne, and I could tell it was a slower week with no live event, because it hit like Thursday or Friday before, like one popped up. So you could tell there wasn't anything going on as far as a live event this week.
Yeah.
But
was a little slower of a week.
Played some Fortnite.
Very nice.
Just continuing to try and improve. I'm getting really quick and comfy with my my inventory, organizing my inventory. I'm getting better at building, working on that hunting rifle. I'm winning quite a few more 1v1 engagements. I'm reacting faster. I'm starting to feel like I have an idea of what I want to do next instead of absolutely no idea. Which I thought about it. It made me want to, I've went back and looked at some of my Crucible footage, like way back. And it is hilarious, to go watch. If you have any old footage of your Destiny 1 Crucible gameplay, go watch it because it's funny if you've played long enough. Cause naturally everyone obviously is just going to get better. So it made me want to like go put side by side old Crucible footage and current Crucible footage and just see the decisions I make, because I kind of want to do the same thing with Fortnite, because I've got to look like such a noob sometimes. It's probably pretty bad.
I know I do.
Yeah. It's like, look at this guy.
Not,
especially
Fortnite
like the first week when I
could get away with streaming, because it would be bad.
I know, right? I know. I've thought about streaming, and I'm like, which, being a noob is entertaining too. But streaming it, and I'm like, that first week, I shoot at somebody and they start building, and I'm just trying to like hide behind a tree and, peek out, and they instantly know I'm a noob because I'm not building.
Right.
That's like, apparently in Fortnite world is the number one thing you realize you're supposed to do is build. Even if you're sneaking up on somebody, you build so that you have the advantage.
Yeah.
But anyways, Fortnite's fun. I did get an invite this week to play on iOS. We were talking about that before the show. Holy cow. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that.
Once they get controller support, I'm going to be really excited, because I was just talking to somebody about how great that would be if, until it comes out on the Switch, like if I was traveling or anything, like just not at home, and I could like pack a controller and like literally just pop that out and Bluetooth controller and just play some matches, that would be a killer app, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were talking before the show, what they're knocking out of the park right now. Cross-platform play is really cool, and it's something, people have been asking for in the gaming community for a long time, and maybe where we're headed in the future. But
if Fortnite, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you go ahead.
You made me remember how I wanted to talk about this because of its impact with Destiny, and cross-platform is something that we've always asked for in Destiny. And I think that if any game can make that happen, Xbox to PlayStation, Fortnite can do it. And if they're able to do it, then I feel like the bridge has been crossed.
That'll do it.
Like once that happens, then it's just up to people agreeing to do it. It's absolutely possible from a network perspective. So then communities can start to put pressure on the games that they want to see that with to provide that feature. And even games like Destiny 2, where, when population is low, it can totally change the game if all your platforms are able to play together.
Yeah.
So sorry, but you were saying.
No, I completely agree. And, and that's where you would think the future of gaming would go. But what's crazy to me is, as important as that is, and I really would like to see that, the fact that I can log in, as soon as I logged in on mobile, I actually got the invite today.
You see all your
there
stuff.
Was my character. There was my character. There was the level I am. There is every setting that I've already done on PlayStation, and I play it on PC. And the fact, cross-platform is fantastic and cool, but for me right now, I'm really going crazy on the fact, and I know this isn't groundbreaking or anything, but they're just knocking it out of the park with it. The fact that I can log on any of those platforms, I don't have to buy the battle pass again. Everything is saved on their server, and I am constantly leveling up the same accounts. That makes me want to play mobile. Well, if I'm chilling at lunch, I already ran my errand, I'm setting out in my car, I'll run a quick game on mobile.
Get some of your challenges.
Maybe get one or two challenges done.
And it was funny. I booted it up for the first time, and the very first thing I did was go to the store, and I saw what was offered that day. And you know what? They had an emote that I wanted, and I just bought it right there off of mobile. I already had the V-Bucks. And I was like, that's huge. Awesome. Now I have it, and I wouldn't have got it if I didn't log in tonight. Yeah.
Dude, and if they come out with this on Switch, which there's rumblings of it, right? They haven't said anything officially, but that I've heard.
There's a rumor, fall. There's a rumor it's coming to Switch in the early
confirmed.
Fall.
But dude, Switch,
it's going to be awesome.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. And it's so weird for anybody that's not playing Fortnite. I've downloaded the game and played it like 2 or 3 different times, uninstalled it, still playing. I continuously play Destiny, but I'm always trying to find something to play with Destiny. Try to find a single player experience, something that just complements the way we play Destiny, and the way we consume that game, so that I can just complement it with something else. And I was playing Monster Hunter a little bit, and Monster Hunter is a fantastic game, but there's so much going on in Monster Hunter that it's just hard to balance with Destiny. Then I realized, I don't know what happened a couple weeks ago, but I'm like, wait a second. Like, Fortnite, I think it might be what I'm looking for to balance with Destiny. And it is spot on, dude. Like, you can play for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You can play for 8 hours. And you're constantly progressing. You're progressing on all these different platforms you want to play on. And it's like, I jump on and I do some Destiny stuff, do some milestones, run a strike. And then I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to go to bed in like half an hour. I'm going to log off, and then I'm going to run anywhere from 1 to 10 Fortnite games, because, you can die in the first 2 minutes of landing, So for me, it is excellent with the way I'm playing games right now on a weekly basis. Being able to play Destiny and balance it with Fortnite, they just complement each other so well for me. And granted, sometimes I get back up I fall asleep kind of early, and then I'll wake back up at 12, 1, 2 in the morning. And to just be able to sneak in half an hour of gameplay, on Fortnite really works well. A strike, it's usually I'll run a strike or two. But I don't know, man. It's just the timing, the time of the game, how quick you're in a game. It just works well for me right now. Basically the only 2 games that I'm playing right now is Destiny and Fortnite.
Nice, man.
It's working for me. It's working great. And I like how in Fortnite, Destiny I can consume the way we always have. You can play Destiny. I can play a couple Crucible matches. I can play a couple strikes and call that a play session. Or you can run a raid. You can run trials, and you can play for 4 to 8 hours if you want. And then, it's kind of whatever you want to do that night. And Fortnite's the same. You can get on, and you feel like no matter what you do or however long you are playing, however long your play session is, you contributed to something with your character, with your account, the way they have it set up. So anyways, those 2 games are working great for me. What are you playing?
Yeah, man, I spent some more time in Destiny this week, and I was able to finally play a little bit more of the Nightfall changes and experience
Nice.
what it's like once you kind of step it up to the prestige level. And one of our community members, Joe Meaden, had told me, like, man, the prestige is where it really shines. And so I hopped on, we was looking for the 3rd, and he actually popped up and was like, I need to do that. Let's do it. So me, Joe, and my buddy Darth jump in, do the vanilla, just regular Nightfall, get through it. And the regular Nightfall, my take is everything's really spongy. All the enemies are just, a little more powerful than you're used to. And it kind of makes it a slog because there's nothing really helping you along the way, right? There's no abilities that are improving. There's there's no extra burns. There's no fun modifiers. You just got to get through the Nightfall as fast as you can with the best score you can. But once we stepped it up to the prestige, that's when it really got fun, because you get your challenge card, you decide, okay, what burn are we going to do? And we went with, you pick it just depending on, it's a strategy decision. In this particular strike, it was actually a pretty difficult strike. It was, what is the name of it? It's the Osiris one where you end up on this round platform with a big Vex dude that kind of rotates around you. Do you know which one I'm talking about there?
I know which one. Yeah.
I'm going to look up the name of it. I'm bad with names of strikes, but it's really challenging because he does void attacks that just destroy you. He has a beam, right? So, we decided to go with an arc burn. So I think it's called Singe is technically what it's called now, but increases basically the effectiveness of arc attacks, and also, how, you receive arc attacks, it makes them more powerful. So there's not as many enemies doing arc in the strike unless you get unlucky like we did, going through the infinite forest and 90% of them were fallen, and you got Shanks one-shotting you. That made it a pain in the butt. But so you do that, and then also you can adjust another power modifier that essentially is like a power level handicap. So you pick a number and basically increase that number, and it brings your power level down by that much. And you kind of have to, figure out based on your build, like how much you can do. And then it gives you a score modifier in line with that, 2 times or 2.5 times or what have you. So you've got that aspect of it. So you're a little bit less powerful. And then you've also got the arc burn. So then you can pick up arc weapons and run arc subclasses to kind of help you balance that out. And the other part of that is on the prestige. If you all die in a darkness zone, it resets just like original Nightfalls. So it took us 3 tries. And on the 3rd try, though, we had our strategies down for every troublesome part we were running into, and finished it, got the prestige aura, and really had a fun time running a Nightfall. It didn't feel like as much of a chore. It felt like a real challenge, but it was challenging enough that it wasn't frustrating, I guess, for us, but it was challenging and fun to complete it. We felt really good afterwards. We probably spent 2.5 hours, going through all the strikes. And I think the mode really shines when you're capable of getting to that level. Like, all right, let's take on a real challenge. And then it feels more like the Nightfalls that, we used to run, or the level of challenge that we used to expect from those activities. It felt like a year 1 Nightfall.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's always a balance of challenge to reward to time spent attempting it.
The strike is
the thought put in
Garden World. Sorry,
Garden World. Like I was thinking the other one was probability or whatever, but that's cool though, man. That's exciting to hear that story.
I liked it a lot. Now I definitely plan next week to try to conquer the next one and get through it. So I had a good time playing that. Just did some other milestone stuff. Kind of just a little farting around, getting this or that. There's not a whole lot of stuff I need gear wise in the game, but and then we all got different emblems. You unlock one. I think Joe got a variant. It's cool to see those. The new emblems look really nice. They're really cool looking. Really fancy, some cool stuff to show off, and then run around the tower with your cool aura on.
Yeah.
That never hurts. But that was most of my reset this week that I was able to check in on. Besides that, not a whole other lot of game time. Got 1 half evening of Civilization 6 in. I'm still working on the same run. I went to war with somebody, late game. I'm in the modern, information age era. So I've got all kinds of cool jets and submarines and stuff. And I think my favorite thing in Civilization is going to war, strategizing and building up the right assets and positioning them, and, trying to outsmart the AI is really fun. So that was exciting, to play some of that. But, man, besides that, my son is still playing, Super Mario Odyssey, and we kind of play together. I help him get through some of the hard stuff. But I've been really proud of him. There is the last main boss battle, and I won't spoil it if nobody's played the game. But it's like a multi-tiered event that you go through. You do 2 or 3 different things throughout it. And the first time we got to it, I did it for him. But you can go back and you can replay some of this stuff. And for some reason, he's obsessed with that last battle sequence, and he would go back and he would make me play it over and over. I've done it 10 times for him. He just likes to watch it and check it out. And sometimes he'll take a crack at it and then be like, Dad, I need your help. Well, he finally went in and he did the whole thing start to finish by himself. And he'd never completed a boss battle.
Researching.
And it also, when you replay them, it ups the difficulty. It adds harder mechanics. So he did it the hardest boss on the hardest difficulty all by himself. I'm so proud of him.
Wow. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool.
So I was pretty excited about that for him, because he's getting good at the game,
Yeah.
He can hang.
Yeah.
So
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. It's always fun to game with the kiddos, dude. I actually just had one of those moments today with my son. He wanted to play this racing game this like toy car racing game that we got on Xbox and Switch, and I was like, okay, yeah, if you want to play it, that's cool. So that was on the TV above the monitor that I usually play games on. So I threw on Fortnite on my gaming monitor, and then he had the racing game on the TV above, and we're both just kicked back in our chairs.
Nice.
And I'm like, I thought to myself, I remember thinking about this day when he was born.
Dude, I mean, and we didn't have that when we were kids. Like, you had to share both your console or whatever and the TV. So it was always a battle over like who's watching a show or who's going to be playing the game.
Yep.
Now we have like in any given house, you've got like 10 screens. And you can have like 5 different ways to play or watch something.
Possibly 4 or 5 in one room.
Isn't that so cool that you can sit next to your son and both play something and just hang out?
Yeah, dude. It's fantastic. It's like, I remember it's like you don't want time to go fast. You want it to slow down. But it's like I had that moment where I was like, I remember thinking about at a certain point when we would start playing video games together.
It feels good, man.
Awesome.
It feels good because it's something that you like, that your child is liking with you, and now it's like you know, that aspect of having, you know, not just a son or a daughter, but like a buddy to participate in that activity and share those things with, you know, next to each other.
See them learn and then like you said, it's your kiddos. I mean, it's your ultimate best friend. You know?
I was just thinking today, like further ahead, like at some point my son will be old enough where he'll want to start watching like, you know, more mature movies. When I say mature, like, you know, not stuff just for kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's going to be a day when we sit down and we have a Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon, and I cannot wait.
I know.
I can't wait till we pop in Iron Man, and I'm like, hold on to your butt. So exciting.
It's special, dude. Yeah,
it's fun to be, man. It's really good to be a geek in today's world. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, it is.
We successfully pulled this off, and thank you to the generation ahead of us that made sure that happened. But it is not uncool to be a geek in today's day and age, and that is really fun.
Yes, it is.
I gotta give a shout out to a fellow geek I actually got to hang out with Friday night. One of our longtime community members, TX Andy Man, he was coming through town and he hit me up, and we were able to go and sit down and have a drink together and just talk about life and video games and everything. And I had a really good time. Shout out to him for hitting me up, and you know, it was really cool to
Andy, man.
Yeah. I mean, one of the coolest, most positive people in the Dirt Fam. And I got to hang out and meet him face to face. Man, I just want to encourage people, if you have opportunities like that, like don't pass them by. Even if it's kind of weird that you're like meeting somebody you met from the internet. I've never had a bad experience from that. Not with like my friends in my community that I've met. Not saying that you shouldn't take precautions, be careful, know what you're getting into, but it is such a unique experience to meet someone that you've just talked to online for like years.
Yeah, it is really
so cool.
Neat. It is.
And it adds
really cool.
It adds a level of friendship and intimacy that you didn't realize isn't there until you like talk with somebody face to face. You know what I mean?
It's like, this is the person
I've been
talking
like,
to.
You're real.
In person.
My imagination.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
And it's weird too, because the voice sounds exactly the same.
It does.
And usually they don't, even if you've seen them in photos, they don't look exactly
right. Yeah.
Like you.
I get that a lot when people meet me. They're like, you know, that's not what, you don't look like that. I'm like, no, this is what I look, this is me. Like, But it's totally true. Like photos don't exactly do people justice until you meet them in real life. That's a good point, man. It's really funny.
That's awesome.
Andy Man's a handsome dude too. He's a lady killer.
Yeah, you guys dropped the photo in the Discord chat, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so jealous. It's so fun.
So that was cool, man. It really amped me up to for the summer when I get to see more of the Dirt Fam. I'm really hyped to go back to Tampa this summer and hang out with more people that are coming. So, all right, man. But that was our reset, right?
Yeah. Yep. That was it. I plan to do some more Destiny things before the reset hits.
Stuff.
But that's it.
We got a Dirt Fam discourse this week.
Yeah, we did. It's actually the email we got last week kind of sprouted some additional thoughts.
Indeed.
I believe that email, what's that email? It was about the meta shift when there actually hasn't been anything that had changed. Right. And was that from Shadow? Is that right? Let me pull this up real quick. I just want to make sure before we expand on this. Let's see here. Dirt Fam Discourse. Yes, Shadow Strike 623. That's what I thought. So anyways, you want to read this?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it.
Kind of expanding on that.
Chris writes us, aka Lost in the Never. Subject Dirt Fam Discourse Meta Changes. Hey guys, I was just listening to episode 137. In the discourse section, you read an email asking about your opinion on what might be causing the meta to change without having any sandbox changes. I have a thought on this that I would like to share. In my opinion, a lot of what drives the meta is a popular player choice and competitiveness. What I mean by this is people that play games with a PvP element look to the top tier players to find the best way to play. I want to get better at Crucible, I go watch Triple Rec. I want to get better at Battlefield, I go watch X Factor, and so on. The big problem right now is the top tier players in Destiny aren't playing Destiny. There's no one to tell the other 99% which guns have the fastest TTK or the best stability or whatever. This leaves the general population to figure it out on their own, and that opens up for a lot of different play styles. Cyborg touched on this a bit when he said something about players finding a style they like, along with people using the guns they get killed with most often, thus creating a new meta. I knew from my own experience, if I just want to jump in and play, I'll just use whatever gun feels good for me on that day. If I want to try to be super competitive, I'll hit up YouTube or Twitch and see what the top end guys are using to gain an edge and give that a try. Since that competitive element is missing along with the top end players, I feel that there isn't a need for people to seek out that one god gun to dominate the player space. That's my opinion on the whole thing. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Thanks and keep up the great work. Lost in the Never.
I love when Dirt Fam Discourse just keeps building on each other.
Yeah, I like when it's conversation. Yeah. I think he hits on some very good points. That's something I really didn't think about, but it's totally true when, I mean, it's not to say that there aren't skilled players playing the game right now, but when there's less of the quote unquote, like big Twitch streamers and YouTubers, like putting out content on, PvP and strategies and certain guns, like, oh, check out this gun and look what I'm doing. Like, he's absolutely right. Like, there's less influence, beyond just what players discover. So I think that that's a really good point. Like, people, especially high profile content creators, can definitely drive trends, Yeah,
without a doubt. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it made me instantly think about all the guns I've ever chased and why I was chasing them. And, majority of the time, probably for a lot of us.
And it's not like there's not any credit to why that happens. Like those skilled players do have a tendency to find things that work well.
Right. And quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's something that I've never been as good at kind of looking analytically like a lot of these really smart, skilled players can do, that I have to kind of, most of the time, like I'm just trying to keep up with what's hot, like I'm not I don't experiment as much. Like I kind of just find stuff I like and I'm like, cool, this works,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like in Destiny 1, it was all the way down to the perks. You remember looking for hand cannons, because I was a big hand cannon guy, and I knew if
it's all about rifle barrel.
Point, everybody probably knew if there wasn't a range perk on your hand cannon,
and just
shred it, dismantle. It's toast. And I mean, you learn all that stuff through rumblings in the community and your favorite people that you watch, your favorite content creators. And of course you do your own research as well. But if you're following the game at all, probably before your own research, you're learning
there's going to be influence
what you should have in your arsenal.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you said last week, even if it's not from your content creators, it's because when you go into the Crucible, you're getting killed by the same gun over and over again by many different guardians, so you're figuring it out yourself.
I need to play the game. Like,
like, all right, I'm going to figure out if I have this and if I don't, where they got it from.
Absolutely. But, I'm willing to bet we're going to see some meta changes after the next patch.
The timely email.
Get ready for the shakeup. It's going to happen.
I'm already seeing posts about, I still haven't ran the strike to get the exotic shoddy, the raid shoddy. All I have to do is run the strike. And if I would have remembered that, I would have done that the other week instead of Nightfall. But I'm already seeing posts because that thing's super popular right now.
Yeah, it was kind of a sleeper for a while. The first time I really saw somebody run it, I laughed at them. And then they wrecked with it. I'm like, wait, what is making this so effective? And basically one slug or one pellet will just wipe you. And you can get a collateral, like you can shoot through people and get multi-kills with this gun. So don't look down on it.
And I'm already seeing posts of, man, if this thing's good now, well, this thing's going to be crazy.
Should be.
After
we're
the patch.
Talking about
because they're
Legend
not
of Acreus. If you're not,
Legend of Acreus. Yeah, it's like they're not doing a ton. Basically, you're going to be able to use power weapons more often. And of course, a lot of things across the board are getting buffs. But if this thing's already good and it's not getting nerfed, and we're going to be, they're promoting the use of power weapons even more. It's just fun to see the posts, even the speculation.
Oh yeah, people are starting to say, well,
what weapons?
What about this gun? Oh, this gun could be good.
Yeah. So it's like old times, man. It's exciting.
It's fun.
We're close to it.
Well, thanks for your email, Lost in the Never. Great feedback there. Good points, man. If you're listening and you would like to comment on something we talked about in the show, or even ask a question, give a shout out, you can do so, destinyresetpodcast@gmail.com. Also, you can leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/destinyreset.
Yeah, and you guys can always, we push emails and speak pipes, but if you send us a tweet, it's more than 140 characters now. So if it's a little easier for you to tweet us, not to say we won't throw that in there as well.
Yes.
So, at Destiny Reset.
We got any new patrons this week, man?
You know what? No, we still got some pending Guardians out there, though. We're going to keep saying this every week till you guys go check your messages.
If you're a patron and you haven't checked your messages in Patreon, go log in and check that, because what we're asking for is your username, aka like your gamer tag, so we can give you a shout out.
Yeah, we like to get that confirmed.
We're not going to use your full name.
We don't like to go off of, the Patreon sometimes is your full name. Sometimes you'll put your gamer tag in there, but we don't like to give you a shout out or put it on the website until we get confirmation from you 100%.
$1.
And that is your gamer tag.
I want to make sure your gamer tag is Johnny Tsunami.
Yes,
if you don't know what we're talking about, go to patreon.com/destinyreset, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the production budget of this show. It goes towards things like equipment, hosting fees, et cetera, et cetera. It takes money to make this thing go round, believe it or not. And every dollar makes a difference. It really actually has made a serious difference for us in the past year. So we're really thankful for our patrons. And of course you get some bonuses. You get a shout out on the show. You get your gamer tag on our website in perpetuity. You also get an invite to a Discord channel just for our patrons and supporters. So come on by patreon.com/Destiny Reset.
Come on by,
boys. We got plenty for everybody. Everybody eats. All right, man. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Arrow Knight, and on Twitch and YouTube it's Arrow Knight.
Beautiful.
What about you, dude?
You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Mixer. Twitch.tv/CyborgSasquatch, Mixer.com/CyborgSasquatch, Twitter.com/CyborgSasquatch.
There you go.
You can find us at Destiny Reset on Twitter, and finally on the World Wide Web at www.destinyresetpodcast.com. That's your source for all things DRP, including links to subscribe on your favorite podcast app of choice. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review.
Please do.
We got a new review.
We got another 5 out of 5. Yeah. It's no written. No written. You know what? If you don't want to write
equivalent
anything,
of like
totally
a guy
fine.
like just driving to your house, knocking on your door, 2 thumbs up, smiles, and then rolls out. I would take that every day. No complaints.
I would too. I like that. I like that.
But yeah, if you're on iTunes, if you've never left us a review, it helps us get seen by more listeners. Thanks so much.
Thank you very, very, very much. We appreciate it.
All right, man. Next week we'll do this again. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Exactly. Yeah. We just rolled over the 12 a.m. mark, so it wouldn't be a normal show if we didn't do that.
Not at all.
Not even close. All right, guys. Until next week, have fun playing Destiny 2, and take care, Guardians.